The most desirable muscle car made by Mopar of all time would have to be the 71 Hemi Cuda convertible. Making only 11 of them, they sell for millions of dollars. This 1971 Cuda convertible has a 340 and a 3-speed manual transmission, making it one of only 8 ever built. The disassembly of this rare, valuable, and desirable muscle car begins now.
This week, we see every phase of the restoration of an ultra-rare 1971 Inviolate 3-speed Cuda convertible. This is a one of 8 Cuda you won't want to miss.
We're coming back on the air.
So a few years ago, I brought on this 1971 Cuda as a project. It was a very rusty car, had a lot of panels that needed to be replaced. Well, pretty much everything from the radiator cap back needed to be replaced. Not really, it wasn't that bad. But it was also a numbers matching 343 speed, one of only 8 made, and in good colors. We got the windshield and the reveal moldings off, but what a The problem is people back in the day especially, car leaks, it can't be anything but the windshield. It can't be the cowl pivots, it can't be the dash, it can't be the cowl itself, it can't be the fact they left the top down in the rain. It's gotta be that windshield. So they just start doping it up with more and more sealer. So you have inches and mountains of sealer. Then they glue the reveal moldings in because they busted half the clips taking them out, and they go, well, the man that owns this doesn't need to know about that. Why don't we just put a little urethane in there and pat it back down? I'm done with my rant. We're ready to drop the dash down out of it. That's a good thing. So one of the things that this particular car had a lot of what we call previous sins. So Doug wasn't here at the time. He didn't get to see it. I think you saw it after it was painted. Mm-hmm. You know, we were talking about the fact that the car's a stripper. They didn't even care about having the electric windshield washer, so that's what this is. So instead of having the button on the dash that you would push for the windshield washers, like in the B body or in the E body, in this particular case, you would have a foot pump. You would physically pump that to get the fluid up onto the windshield. They didn't have any effort at all on the 3-speed, even to make it cool. Like, why couldn't they have built a pistol grip 3-speed? But that's what it is. It's just a straight chrome shaft with a ball on the end of it. The bezel is the exact same one that you would have if you had a pistol grip 4-speed, but the boot itself is different because this has a round hole in it, and the pistol grip is that oblong center hole in it. That car was a mess. So it was like, you know how we saw some cars back in the day that were scrapped together? They used chicken wire, and then they put Bondo over the top of it to hold it in place. Well, this car had that and more. It was a mess. And I even mentioned, I would rather see the car in its original paint, no matter how bad it is. There's nothing quite like that shock of when you get a car back from the dipper and there's nothing there but an ignition key and a windshield wiper. So this car was kind of like that. Ouch. All right. Everything. Okay. Everything's just been a complete pain in the on this car. And it's because take some cars apart, they've never been touched. You're better off with a car that's never been touched than one that's been touched from the standpoint of disassembly. Because every bolt has been stripped and lost and changed out for the wrong bolt. We've took out lag bolts out of here, wood screws out of here. It just takes forever to do that. Something that's normally a half-a-day job takes all damn day long, and that's what we're struggling with right now. You can see lots of body work's been done on this car. I'll do you a little magic right here. You guys ready for some magic? We're gonna debondo this thing. That's where somebody just fills it up with Bondo and fiberglass and says, wow, look at that, isn't that pretty? This, folks, is what they Bondoed over. That's how you can tell somebody's been there. I'd rather walk up to a car and just see the hole and know I'm buying a car with a hole in it than something like that. So really all we've got left, we got to take a couple of the rear moldings off around the convertible top and take the taillights out of it, and then it's ready to go over and get dipped. So we'll be anxious to see what it looks like when it gets back, but it's pretty close to ready. So when you start talking about convertibles, they don't make convertible panels. So what we have to do is we have to convert a full quarter panel that would go all the way up to the sail panel area, and we have to modify it to be used as a convertible. He's been working on it for quite a while. I think so far you've done floors, rear step wells, under seat pan, aprons. Did you do frame rails in the front?
Yeah, even did the front frame rails.
So, you know, it was just one of those cars that, being a convertible, it got wet inside. And when they get wet inside, that takes a lot of metal out. So it's still a good, solid, original car, a lot of good stuff on it. But yeah, it's had some panels, had a little bit of surgery done to it. Show them what's going on here with the convertible. What makes the convertible a little bit different than the hardtop?
The hardtop, the quarters carry up in an angle about this way. The convertible is just a straight, flat line.
There is a lot more available aftermarket. Like AMD's does a beautiful job. They make almost everything that you can imagine, but they're not going to go to the trouble of making a convertible quarter panel specific to a convertible when there just aren't that many of them out there. So what we have to do is we have to take and modify an OEM full panel, which for the most part is exactly the same as a convertible style quarter panel, except where the roof begins. Let's face it, we don't have a roof on a convertible. So we have to find that point where we trim it through what they call the sail panel area. So my answer is get it the rest of the way off of there, all the way down, take it out, take this whole thing off, do not damage it, don't bend it. We need the original length and shape of it because we may end up using it either again or as a template.
This is my first convertible, so I'm nervous. I do not want to make a mistake. So I have to take it off as careful as possible so I can reuse it if I have to, and if not, I can use it as a template on the new quarter, and I'm praying that everything goes back together just right.
That's the thing, is it's not a perfect world. When you go to put that panel on and you have previous damage, like this car had been center punched. So we go to put the quarter panel on and it doesn't fit like it's supposed to. You've got to have the door lined up to the quarter, and there should be a gap in there. 3/16 of an inch is a good starting point before you start putting materials on. Sounds a little wide, but it's not. But in this particular case, because it had gotten hit, that pillar had gotten slammed in, rolled over, and laid down. We had to bring all that stuff back up to where it's supposed to be, but then we had to modify the quarter panel to fit it like it was supposed to and still overall end up with the right length on the right-hand side. Because you could just shorten it up by 1/4 of an inch and nobody'd know it, but we don't do that at Great Bear Cars. And it's because of that, what happens is when you're all done, you need a good line. And the easiest thing in the world would be to build the line up or make it more consistent using like filler. That's what this car was full of. So we metal finish everything off. That's why you see all that cutting and sectioning, because when we're finished, we want that reveal to be perfect, but we want it to be perfect made out of metal, not out of mud and filler. So Will's getting ready to do the paint work on the Cuda. Now, you know from being around here now for the last few years that if you get into the convertible stuff, they change every time. There's nothing to hold the roof together on these cars. There is no roof. That's part of the lure. It's convertible. So what Will has to be mindful of is by the time that car makes it out of the mudroom, over for primer, back out to the mudroom, block, back over for prime, back out to mud, block, back in for paint, it's been rotated 50 times. Are the lines still good? That's the biggest challenge. We know how to make a car flat down the side. We know how to put style lines in it and make all that match. What we don't want is movement in the body. So his job is even more critical on those convertible cars.
So I got Delaney's car moved over to assembly. Car looks great. Mark and I were kind of going over QC and just have them just double check a few things before they actually start building the car, just in case an extra set of eyes is always good to have.
Our 1971 Plymouth Cuda convertible, BS27 H1B 340 with a D13 manual transmission. Just came out of the paint shop. So we are getting ready to go over the entire parts order that we need to put into Classic Industries and the different vendors so that we can start assembling the car. Look, I think Will does a great job painting. I really do. I give him a lot of crap. But lately I haven't. I've backed off of that a lot. Paying more attention to his detail. So when I saw the car, purple convertible is beautiful anyway. But I thought that car looked really, really nice.
That's new.
Parts catalog or something?
I need to,
oh my God,
I can be
what
pretty
is
fast
that?
and you
What
guys
in the
won't be able
world?
to catch everything, I'm reasonably sure.
Dad, what is that?
Just a headset so that I can do, rattle off these parts real quick. When it comes to ordering parts on these cars, you wouldn't know. He gets lucky, he doesn't have to do it. There's a million parts on them, right? So I thought it would be neat. I thought it'd be cool if I recorded it. So I put on some headphones, a little microphone, and I walked around and I dictated all the parts that needed to be done. Always have the fender tag. Always have the fender tag in your hand or the broadcast sheet, because there's going to be things coming along here that we're going to have to ask questions on, right?
Okay.
Alrighty.
We start at the front of the vehicle, we work our way to the back of the vehicle. Fuel tank, sending unit, straps, J-bolts. We've got to get the dash assembly sent off to Instrument Specialties for a complete restoration. I want to reset the odometer to 0 and modify the AM radio to an AM/FM MP3 with an original look to it. Firewall installation, under dash installation. Steering column needs to be restored. We have all the pieces to do it in stock. Front seat upholstery, white. Buckets, no console. White interior door trim panels. Seat belts.
What color seat belts is this getting?
Seat belts go black in this.
Black, okay.
White card gets black belts. Seat spacer kit, seat spacer nuts. Shift bezel boot, shift bezel. Get those from Pass On Performance. They're the ones that are doing all of our transmissions now. They've already rebuilt the 3-speed for it. Phoenix Graphics is going to give us the white billboard. This is not a white billboard car, but the owner would like to add it, and that's fine. That's what you and Will are going to work on, Alyssa. You guys did so good on. Yeah. Order 5 sets, and we'll try to get those out of it. Because when you guys go through the first 4, I'll come in and put the last one on right the first time. Stainless steel. Round up all the stainless steel that doesn't get replaced, such as the convertible top molding. Get those sent out to have them polished, straightened and polished. We need new rocker moldings and rocker molding clips. 71 all has them. Trunk mat, body plugs, body bumper kit. We've got tail light lenses, tail light bezels. We have the housings. We need the nameplate that says by Plymouth for the rear tail panel and the one that calls out Cuda. We need to get hold of our friends down at Accurate Exhaust and tell them we would like a complete dual exhaust system for this engine. Give him the casting numbers. Okay, any questions of me?
Well, no, I'm back at number 1, chrome face bar.
The gag was, I thought they were some kind of wireless device, and Jeffrey the audio cat was recording it. No, it's just a dangling rope. I looked challenged. It's just a little cord hanging there that wasn't connected to anything. I had to do it all over again with a pen and paper.
I'm sorry.
So, well, I gave you crap about not being the brightest bulb on the string, but I think I'm not far from it either. I just thought they were wireless. I mean, this is 2000, what is it, 20?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, it was 19 then. I'm getting ready to install the billboard graphics on our 1971 Plymouth Cuda convertible. I have Alyssa working with me, and the main reason why is last time we had our Phantom Cuda here, I allowed Will, the big mouth who says he can do everything, and Alyssa, who agrees with him, is the partner in crime who stole my car, they decided that they could put the decals on, so I let them. They never got it off the table. Why? Because they didn't read the instructions or listen to me the first time I talked to them about not getting the backing paper wet. So she is going to learn today the correct way to install a billboard graphic. I've said it many, many times that this is one of the most difficult graphics. It may not be the most, but I believe it's in the top 3 of the most difficult graphics to do. There's a lot of things that have to be considered when you're putting this decal on. So the first thing we're going to start with is just setting the decal up there, seeing where everything lines up at before we get it wet, before we start just taking the backing paper off. Okay. All right, lay that thing up there like that. That's one nice pass, just like that. And then down. Okay, so the middle of the field is now squeegeed out. Boy, there's not one bubble. I'm at a point now at Graveyard Carz where I have good quality people around me. Doug's able to handle everything out in the machine shop, whether it's a rear end or an engine or a transmission, everything to do with the powertrain. He can do more than that, but that's his area. In the paint shop, I've got it handled. Will's down there. In the mudroom, I got that handled. Over in the metal shop, I got George doing a great job. Justin's been doing good in our assembly area, so everybody's doing great. Alyssa's done enough billboards now with me and she's failed enough that I just felt like she was ready to try it on her own. I had an extra one there in case, but I didn't tell her that, right? I just want to make sure that she is ready to do it.
So a little bit earlier, my dad and I put our billboard stripe on our 1971 Cuda, the in violet, gorgeous car. And now I'm going to try to put our billboard stripe on the passenger side when he shows up, I think that he went to the gym or something. But when he gets back, he'll sit back and I will give him a tutorial on how to put the billboard stripe on.
Well, if it isn't the creeps. Hi, camera creeps.
Dad!
Creeping on everybody.
You came at the perfect time. Will you help me
Why are
hold
you
this?
doing that car without the ice tray, the ice man, the ice biscuit, ice shavings, vanilla ice, ice baby, Ice Age, the movie? Why are you working on this?
Okay, so I'm trying to dry fit this
Why weren't
side.
you here an hour and a half ago and I would have been here to help you?
So let me catch you up.
Okay.
So far, I've tack cloth, panel, and also the decal. And now I'm trying to dry fit it because I want to see. But it's actually more difficult because it's so huge. So I'm glad you came at the perfect time so you can help me hold it.
426 crate. I'm the first person to receive one of these tumblers, the very first person. I'm also the very first
Dad, nobody cares. Nope.
Well, I think they do care.
Don't think they do.
Okay, where do you want it? That
Yeah,
look good?
that's great, Dad. That's great.
How much reveal do you have here? This is what counts. The rest of it has to go where it has to go. So how much reveal do you have there?
Ooh.
You've heard me run through my repertoire. I'm looking for other ice things, not the camera boys, but you at home. Like ice shavings, ice pops,
Should I tape this?
icicle, ice maneuver, ice baby, iceberg. See, I just had that one.
So should I
There's
tape
power
this?
in numbers.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, like the third
don't
cup of
know.
coffee. I have no idea who the hell I am anymore. So you're looking good there, but you're looking bad here, right? You got too much reveal, so now we got to go up and match that one. Now how are we looking down there?
No,
Now
we
we slid back a little, didn't
Yeah.
we? So we're going to want to slide forward a little bit like that.
Okay.
Okay,
Looking better?
okay, okay. Well, if you're looking for me, I'll be on my stool having some coffee. Who took my coffee? Why are you shooting it from 1,000 feet away?
Well, the closer you are, the more kickback you're gonna get.
No, why don't you make it into more of a fan?
Like that?
Yep. So what do you want to do here? This is your call, Chiefers. you the man.
Okay, so now we're gonna take we're gonna separate
The ice girl, the ice
the
pick.
decal
Okay.
like this. Yeah?
Yep.
How it's supposed to look?
Looks good.
What would you do without me?
I'm gonna go down to all the way.
Okay,
down
wait,
to here.
now I gotta spray it. So now we're gonna spray our decal down, just in case we drop this side.
Yep.
Be safe.
Load that mother bear. Why'd you spray me purposely?
I did it. I'll show you.
Okay, turn around.
Purposely is.
Alrighty. Yeah, what do you think, Chiefers?
No, I don't think yet.
You don't
yeah,
think yet.
right. Does it need to go up a little bit? This reveal look kind of skinny. It's like right on the edge.
Looks pretty good.
Okay. There's a lot of air.
Beautiful. Learning. Fruit of my loin. Oh, I thought I saw something bad, but I don't think it is. I think we're okay. And I'll be darned if she didn't do a beautiful job. Every bit as good a job as I would have done. Not one air bubble. And I'm picky when it comes to those. But she took it seriously. This is why I think as a QC person, she's doing better all the time. This is really becoming a passion for her. And I'm so glad. I thank God for that because I've tried to instill that in her. But, you know, when you're young, there's a lot of things that you can be passionate about. You know, girls and cars and stuff like that. It wasn't until you get a little older and you say, well, I should make a living out. It's hard to make a living out of girls and cars. Well, I mean, you could, but it'd be against the law. I wouldn't be a very good pimp anyway.
I think I did a little better without Will's help.
Look at that. That's what you call the fliz and flaz and flazoo.
It went really good. And I'm like leaving today on cloud 9, knowing that I was able to do this. And Will's been painting for like 30 years and he can't do this.
50 years and he still can't do it.
He's like 39, so I don't know how that one works.
Well,
but
whatever. Dog
it's great.
years.
It feels good. Like I had a good day. I accomplished
You feel good?
something. I didn't mess up.
That's
and you
awesome.
know, I'm gonna come back tomorrow, the man.
What?
So.
Well, I don't know what that is. But I don't care. It's all okay in this world.
Dad, it's been fun. I love you.
Yeah, okay, I love you too.
I know this is weird for you. There you go.
Yeah, it's okay. The old man.
All right, thank you.
Kinda.
My bag.
Fruit of my loin.
This is a 1971 Plymouth Cuda convertible FC7 in violet. We just got our stuff from Inline Tube, our brake lines, our vapor return line, and our fuel line. And I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start with installing the brake lines and the distribution block. I'm gonna start by setting the distribution block in here. Go. I already did like a mock-up and a pre-fit of all this stuff. So already got them out of the box, bent out the lines. They give you little tags on the lines when you get them because they come in a box and they're bent. So they give you get a sticker here and a sticker here, and there's a bend. And that's where they tell you to straighten it out at. And so it makes it really easy for you. When you get your master cylinder in here, you can do some final tweaking to these lines just to get it to be able to line up right. So you never really know your placement that these are gonna be yet. So I usually leave these ones loose until I get that master cylinder in there. And that is it for our brake lines. Now I can move on to the vapor return line and our fuel line. All right, that's our fuel line. Now we can move on and put our vapor return line on there.
All right, I've rounded up the team, the A team, to install the drivetrain in our 1971 Plymouth Cuda 340. It has a manual 3-speed transmission.
How many were built?
How many were built?
11.
8. That's E for effort. Wow.
Dang it.
Wow. And it's a convertible. So you guys ready?
Yeah.
All right, and here we go.
Put about there.
Got it?
And
All right, let's put the nuts on. Yep, I'm tight. Go ahead and slide the shackles in. Once you get the shackle through there, I can raise it up, so just let me know when you get it through.
not yet.
Got it?
Okay, got it.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and raise it up. 4th floor, mannequins. All right. Okay. Okay, got it?
Yeah.
Gonna put the nut on.
Uh-huh.
All right. Go ahead and let this down and do Alyssa's side.
Okay, I'll go get a ranch.
I call it a ranch.
I'll go
like
get a
the
ranch.
dressing. Alyssa, are you ready? Take her down a notch. You're getting crazy. How's that? Beautiful?
Easy peasy.
Got it. Love it. Nut on there. Run it down. Got it?
Nice.
Lisa? Got it. Beautiful. All right, guys, let's move to the front.
Whoa!
What are you doing, you crazy?
You're taking too long.
We're just rolling it.
I think the whole thing's got to go this way, though. Oh, look at that, just falling right into place,
That's
huh?
nice.
Getting there.
You liking what you're seeing?
Looking good.
When do you want to feed those shocks in?
You good, Alyssa?
We're good. It's fine.
Okay, everything looks good over here.
Okay.
So last week we had a lot of snow and rain, and I think Dougie's microchip got wet. So they called him back home, and this is a new Dougie model here.
Oh, hold it.
Me.
How's your shock
Oh,
doing,
what's
Alyssa?
Fine.
Mark seems to be really
You know
excited
what I mean?
about
You
it.
see what I'm saying? How nice that went in. That's beautiful.
Here you go, Doug.
Nice.
Good, Ned. All right. Let's put the transmission cross
Now I
member
get
and then
to
we
be
can raise it
Ned.
up in the air.
Hey, that's better than like
Ned.
Yolanda.
Yeah, Ned's much better. So Doug got to mount the wheels and tires up on this. We did not have a broadcast sheet for this car. So the owner went with the E6015 tire. This is the Goodyear Polyglass. The Goodyear Polyglass is a really neat tire. There's only one company reproducing them in the entire world. They got the authorization, Kelsey. So these tires look exactly like it was 1970 all over again, 1971. They're the tires that these cars came with. It's a nice looking tire.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take these to my good buddy Justin and see if he'll mount these up on that car for me.
What's up, Doug?
Well, I think they don't just look nice, but they actually drive pretty good once you warm them up. That's the only thing. If you go out on the road with a brand new replica polyglass tire, that first couple of miles is a little bit rigid because that tire hasn't warmed up and softened up. But after that, it really drives like the rest of the tire.
So I got my torque wrench. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna torque these wheels. You wanna make sure that the car is under its own weight. After it's under its own weight, how you wanna do this is you wanna torque these down in a star pattern. It's just the proper way to do it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I'll get this one, then I'll finish off the rest of them. So when you hear that click, that means you're to torque to your spec that you set. So I'm setting these right now to 65 foot-pounds. So you just set your gauge, go ahead and tighten. I just give it a little 2 clicks just to make sure. Just want to be safe. Got our awesome dog dishes. We'll put these on. So with these, you want to kind of just lock them into the groove and then just give it a good pop. Make sure you're secure on there. And that's it. Those look so good on there. Cool thing about working over here is you get to see the process of it going through metal, the mud room, all that work. It comes over here, and just to be able to see these cars go together and be able to put these together is just an awesome thing. This thing has not rolled for two plus years, and it's under its own weight. It's got wheels. It's a roller now, so pretty excited.
Belt moldings, body side moldings, tail lights, headlights, grills, bumpers, all that's like jewelry going on the fingers. So it is fun, but it's also a huge high visual payoff.
Go ahead, I'll set this bottom one.
So we normally use Instrument Specialties to do our dashes. Everybody knows that. We've been doing it forever. The problem is I think I have 25 dashes back there right now. They're just snowed with our work. We're so buried, and this car needed to get done. The E-body of all the dashes, because so much stuff is reproduced for it, we can do some of that work ourselves. As long as you spray it with the correct original lacquer with the suede in it, which we got from Mike at Instrument Specialties. Then the rest is just like Dash Pad Pros makes the dash pad for it. Instrument Specialties OER, you get all the pieces that go in the dash, the faces, the needles, the gauges, everything. You can get it all.
All right. So after you get that in, you can actually grab your bezel, rock that over.
So building one of those out, of all the Mopars, an E-body dash is easiest.
Now we can put our control panel right in here. It's all in one piece. So in the case of this car, you have your headlights, your wipers, your dimmer switch, and in this car, we got the convertible top, so you got your up and down switch for your top. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna put this in. I'm gonna follow that up with our dash lights.
In a case like this where you're up against the gun, your partners are already buried with work, the right answer was to have Justin go through it and do it. And you did a good job. It looks right.
Go to that middle one. There we have it. 1971 Plymouth Barracuda convertible dash finished. Looks great.
Doug helped put the dash in the car, which back when we were kids, we never took the dash out of a car to work on it that I remember.
No. Okay.
You on there?
Yep.
Right. There, I'm on there too.
You were laying upside down, but you had an advantage. You were 15.
There you go.
Okay, things looking clear.
Yep.
All right, let's rock it up.
That's
15
right.
years old, you could lay in there and rebuild the whole thing from the backside. But when you're, you know, in your late 40s and you're doing
a couple of hard landings.
Yeah, Doug's took a few shots to the melon.
You don't want to do that anymore.
No, you know.
Go underneath those dashes.
No. Somebody was running the microwave the other day in the kitchen and he urinated. So I don't know what.
Okay, yo.
Put the bulkhead up on the firewall.
Here you go, yo.
Thank you.
All right.
So once the dash assembly was installed, then Justin could put the steering column in. Now, E-body steering columns, pretty easy to rebuild, pretty easy to restore. He did a good job. Again, that gets the black suede jewel. I think it's called Black Jewel is the name for the paint that goes on the column. But if you look at that steering wheel on that car, that is one plain, nothing option car. Pay real close
Sound
attention.
like you hate this thing or something.
All right, there we have it. Our steering column is in, and this thing is ready to move on to the rest of the interior.
I love the car. I was just
Yeah?
talking about the steering wheel. It's just the cheapest
Poverty wheel?
Yeah, poverty wheel. Recently, we've been buying our carpets from ECS. So there's the same people that make, well, our date-coated tinted glass or clear glass for the different cars and all of the information labels. So like when you see me putting the door VIN label on for the 70 on-up cars, they're the only company that's authorized to do it by Chrysler. So the company's been around a long time. One of the things they started doing in the last few years was making a carpet that doesn't get shipped in a wadded up ball in a box. So now when we get that here, it's folded one time. All you have to do is unfold it, lay it down. You'll always want to take a steam cleaner because you really want to make it fit as nice as possible. But really, instead of spending an entire morning, we can spend 15, 20 minutes going over it with a steam, and it's laid down beautiful. Everywhere where the raises for the seatbelt buckles are on the floors of the E-bodies, it fits it beautifully. Where it mounts around the tunnel, whether it's a stick shift or an automatic, it fits it like it's supposed to. It's a really nice product. If you're ever in a situation where you're having to put the carpet in, you'll appreciate it, I promise. I always said the funnest part of the build is the assembly, because that's where they come to life, right? So if you're putting on the louvers, which by the way, Tony makes a beautiful set of those louvers for the fenders, whether you're putting those on the mirrors, like in the case of the mirror, OER is reproducing that mirror. That's the accurate mirror. That's the poverty mirror. That's the one, the same mirror Doug, you still have yours, right?
I do.
Oddly enough, I don't know how Doug sold his 70 Barracuda in 1978 and still has the left-hand outside mirror off of it.
I use it every day.
No, but the point is when you sold the car, it didn't have a mirror on it?
No. The mirror was floppy, so I took it off and replaced it. But I still have the original.
Gotcha. So when you got rid of the car, it did have a mirror on it.
Yes.
When you're done, you stand back and it's really made that beautiful purple paint even that much more beautiful. It adds a touch of elegance to it.
You good there?
You want to go through that way?
Yeah.
So our 1971 Cuda is drawing close to the finish line. One of the last big things that we have to put on is our convertible top mechanism. Now this is a power convertible top. That's not standard. You had to order P37 to get the power. Otherwise it would have been a mechanical top like a couple of the cars that I have out back. So right now we're getting ready to put the convertible top mechanism in. We'll bleed it out. We'll adjust it as close as we can without material on there. Then Larry can come out, get the material put on it. We can do the final adjustments, fit them to the side glass and the quarter glass, and we'll be ready to put the rest of the few things that are left on it and get it out for a drive. This is just a rough fit.
Yeah.
So if we just held it up against it into place, and then wherever this naturally wants to sit at that time, that's probably where we'll lock it down.
Okay.
And then Larry can play with it if he needs to.
Yeah, sounds good.
You have a power box there?
Here we go.
I'm a believer. I'm a faithful man. When the top comes in and comes down and seats, it shouldn't have tension against it. See, that side's a little softer, but it's going. So a little adjustment on that one. Now remember, folks, this is our 1971 Cuda 340, 3-speed manual transmission. That's the standard transmission. Only 8 people opted not to go up to a 4-speed or to an automatic. This is one of 8. It's an in-violet, white top, white interior. It's a very rare car. You won't see 2 of these at a local car show. So yeah, with that, there's 100 little adjustments between these bows and the actual vertical and horizontal bars right here. But we'll dial those in as Larry's getting the material ready. We can get the windows rolled up, put some rubber in there, put your Metro molded rubber in place, just even to mock it in there.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll dial it in. Nice work.
Yep.
So the restoration of a convertible top isn't bad if it's not really rusty and if it's complete when you started. This one was a really nice top except for the header. I had to rebuild the header myself. That's the main piece that goes across by the windshield that everything wraps down and around. It was real rotten, which is common on these. So I had to put in several patches, pieces, reinforcement areas, finish it off, paint it, get it ready. That was the only real big work that we had to do to it. The rest of it was in nice shape. It just needed to be cleaned, blasted, media blasted, painted, then lubed, put on the car, adjusted, and then it was ready for the top material. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful car.
It's good seeing that on
Somebody's going to be extremely happy, I think. So with all the pieces that we've got done so far on our 71 Cuda, it's getting really close to being able to deliver to the customer. Larry will come out, he'll do the actual material that goes on the top, but the mechanism is in place, everything is aligned like it should be. So really, with just a few hours after Larry's done, we'll be able to wrap this car up, call the guy up, have him come out, and deliver the car to him.
How were the moldings?
Which mold?
Around the windshield.
They were beautiful, thank you for asking.
Really?
Yep, which is unusual on a convertible. Not unusual that they're nice, because they are up out of the way. They shouldn't get beat too bad. But usually what happens is people have put windshields in these cars over the years. Every time a car leaks water inside, somebody thinks it's the windshield or the back glass. It's never the windshield or the back glass. It's somewhere else it's coming in at. So what that means is that the windshield's been out, somebody's pumped it full of urethane, put it back in, taken it out, pumped it full of urethane, put it back in. They do that 5 or 10 times, and it just ruins the moldings. These moldings had never been off the car. They were absolutely beautiful. So when it comes to installing the complete front top header assembly, the visor mounts in a convertible are actually also the clasps for the top itself. So those have to be in place. As the latch comes down, I guess it's the receiver, goes into the receiver and you clip it up in place. So all that stuff has to be in place before you can put the windshield on. So that's what Justin is doing, is putting all those pieces into place, getting the back of the top mechanism at an adjusted point. You shouldn't have to pull it down and clasp it, because if you do that, you're going to cause body flex in the convertibles. So everything needs to be rested and sitting where it's supposed to be. So I don't know about Doug. Did you ever do a convertible top of your own?
No. No.
You ever do a vinyl top? I haven't.
No.
I've avoided both of those. They look like a lot of work, and it takes a skill. So like Larry, that does all of ours, been doing it forever, and he can still spend a day and a half, 2 days putting that material on. There's so many moving parts on a convertible, and if you get it tight here where it looks really nice, and you run it down, you hit the clasp, and all of a sudden it pulls it up at the back, then that's got to be readjusted. They just go round and round, dialing this thing into perfection. So putting a vinyl top on is a dream compared to putting one on a convertible top. It's fun to be part of something like this, and I'm glad that Doug came in when he did in the last couple of years, because now he gets to share in the fun. He was out drilling wells, enjoying the big life, the roughneck life, and now he's got it made. Graveyard Cars. What do you think? What do you think when you sit back and you see a car go from the grave to what it looks like now?
Oh my goodness, what a transformation. From nothing to something that's...
And to be able to turn those lights on, bam, and there's a beautiful FC7 in violet, white top V3W, in case you're wondering what the code is for that. White interior, 343 speed, one of only 8 ever made. Knowing that it was dead and gone and all but forgotten. And if it hadn't been worth $100,000 or plus dollars when it was done, it would probably be at the bottom of a ravine somewhere. So while people are out there saying, God, it makes me mad that those cars are $100,000 and they were $3,000 when they're new, or why is that worth $1 million? Just keep in mind, if they weren't, what would the justification be in building one? Where would our validation be if somebody brought us a car that was worth $5,000 when it was done, but it cost $80,000 to build it? Nobody's going to do that. So it all has to go hand in hand. So at the end of the day, when we're walking around here and we're seeing these big, beautiful reveal glamour shots of these cars, and knowing that the owner is so excited to get that car back. Unfortunately, he couldn't be out here for the final reveal, but he is just dying to get the car back and look at it. And I know that he's going to have fun with it. He has a huge collection of cars. So, in fact, some pretty impressive cars. So this car is going to sit right there with him, looking tall and proud. Now, normally speaking, at this time, our standard operating procedure, we would take this car out for our beautiful driving shots, all right? Unfortunately, it is January in Graveyard Land, and it's raining cats and dogs outside, so we couldn't take it out and drive it. Standard operating procedure. Dougie doesn't know a whole lot about standard operating procedures, and just a quick story, and then I'll let you go. So if I were to build a bicycle and stack them 3 high and weld them all together and run 3 sets of chains on it, you didn't just leave it out for the neighborhood kid to ride, because he's going to kill himself on it, right? So SOP, standard operating procedures, is get that thing somewhere safe, right? So that was the SOP, right? Unwritten, rite of passage, standard operating procedure. So he lived on a farm, I guess, for a lack of anything else, down in Cresswell. It's a weird farm. 2-headed goats, 3-legged chickens. They fed them a steady diet of chocolate. They had a refrigerator out in the barn. You'd open the refrigerator and it was just this wall of brown. What is that? It's chocolate, man. Mom got a good deal on it at the auction. One day, he decides he's going to build a kite, a human kite. And so they had a huge barn out there. It was an old dilapidated thing, 30 feet in the air. He wants to build a kite. So he builds it out of 2x4s and Visqueen, which isn't very smart anyway, because it's, practically speaking, it's very heavy. And so he builds it, and it's a 2x4 shaped like diamonds, nailed together with some Visqueen and a little strap for you to go up there. I guess you're going to jump off, and theoretically, the air is going to go underneath it, and you're going to be able to sail. That's what you see on TV anyway. So he finished it. It was late at night. He was finishing up. I said, I don't want any part of this stuff. I am not going to be a statistic because of your foolishness. So I got in my Charger and went home. He got tired, yawned, went to bed, left it out. Well, his little brother Vince, not the sharpest tool in the shed, found it and says, oh boy, a kite. He shimmies up to the top of the barn, which took everything he had because he's just like 10 or 12 pounds, right? Gets up to the top of the barn, says, jumps off, says, wee, look at me. That's all he said. And it drove him down into the ground 18 inches. The only thing sticking out was his feet. That was it. They had to rush him to the hospital. There were 2 things that weren't broke. I think like one rib.
His head.
I think his head got broken too.
He had a concussion.
Yeah. Standard operating procedures, very important. Say goodbye, Dougie.
Bye, Dougie.